Today's lesson is called NASA Launches Plan to Return to Moon and Stay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to talk about astronomy, going out there in space and checking out the stars and planets. And in this case, we're planning to go to the moon again. You may remember, how long ago was it? Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon and became the first man there. This is one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. In any case here, we're planning to go to the moon again. Now, NASA and the Chinese are all talking about going back to the moon. There's a big space race going on now to be the next people on the moon.
There you go. NASA has launched a plan to go back to the moon, but that's not the end of things. They're going to go back to the moon, or they want to go back to the moon, and they want to stay there as well, which sounds super exciting to me. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and take a short break. But when we come back, we're going to learn all about NASA's plan to return to the moon and stay there. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
NASA launches plan to return to moon and stay. A new space race is heating up now that NASA has announced bold plans to land astronauts on the lunar surface again as early as 2024. What's more, the space agency isn't planning just to visit. This time when we go to the moon, we're going to stay, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said in February. Plans include a space station named the Gateway, which will orbit the moon and provide a place for astronauts to stop on their way to the surface.
Hello， 大家好。第一部分我们看到单字 astronaut， 这个字是名词，指太空人。例如 ，Throughout his long career as a dentist, Herbert secretly regretted never becoming an astronaut. 在 Herbert 漫长的牙医生涯中，他暗自懊悔没有成为一位太空人。接着我们看到一个形容词 lunar， 课文中指月球的，像是The probe took photographs of the lunar surface. 探测船拍摄了月球表面的照片。而 lunar 除了上面的意思外，还有指阴历的。我们可以说 Moon Festival is held on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month. 中秋节是在阴历第8个月的第15天庆祝。再来，我们看到单字 administrator， 这个字是名词，指署长、管理者、行政主管。例如 New rules were made up by the administrators at the university. 新的规则是由大学的行政主管们所制定的。
Okay, everybody, as you know, NASA stands for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration of the American government, and they, of course, have done all sorts of things in space with the Apollo program and the space shuttle and stuff like that. And now NASA is launching a plan to go back to the moon, and they want to stay there and not just come back and leave some garbage behind like they did with the Apollo missions. So here it's interesting that they're using the word launch. When you send a rocket into space, the beginning of the journey is referred to as the launch. And, of course, a launch is the noun, but here we're using it as a verb to launch something. That just means to start something. Your company may launch a new product for your company so that you can start selling it in a new market or something like that. You're planning a new product launch, but here launch is being used as a verb. They are coming up with a new plan to go back to the moon.
Yeah, you could say Apple plans to launch a slew of new products in the coming months, i.e. they're going to introduce these products to the market, okay? And like Roger said before, in this situation, to launch something is a whole lot like starting that thing or getting that thing going in some way, shape, or form. Yes, here we're not talking about sending a rocket into space, but NASA does send rockets into space, and they do plan on sending a rocket to the moon. That's how we're going to get there. But yes, We're not going to be counting down to a rocket launch today. No. We're just talking about how NASA has these plans, and they also plan to act on them. We're going to go back to the moon, and we're going to stay there. Anyways, a new space race is heating up now that NASA has announced bold plans to land astronauts on the lunar surface again as early as 2024. Yay, how exciting.
Yep, there's a new space race. The original space race was between the Americans and the Russians in the 1960s there. And that race kind of ended. They thought they were being silly. Let's not do this. We're just wasting money. But now we've got a new one. It's heating up. It's getting more and more intense because, or now that NASA has announced those plans to land astronauts on the moon. An astronaut, of course, is a person who goes into space. Lunar just refers to anything having to do with the moon. Sometimes here in Taiwan, we get to see a lunar eclipse when the Earth blocks the moon from the sunlight. Okay, so of course this could happen pretty soon here in just about 4 years.
Yeah, this word lunar, by the way, you might think, wow, that's weird. Lunar. That has to do with something on the surface of the moon? How weird. Well, it is kind of weird, but remember, a lot of words in English do have a root in the language of Latin. And yes, I believe this comes from the Latin, okay? You've got a lunar surface, because I believe that the word for moon in Latin is very similar to luna or lunar. And yeah, very often you'll see adjectives like that come from the Latin. Like if we were talking about the surface of the sun or things having to do with the sun, we wouldn't say sunner. No, we'd say solar, lunar, solar, having to do with the moon, having to do with the sun. And on Earth, it's the same thing. Yeah, when we're talking about having to do with the sea or with the oceans, we say marine, because yeah, M-A-R, that is going to be from the Latin. I believe M-A-R or M-A-R-E, mare, was the actual Latin word for the ocean. So we say marine, or having to do with the seas or with the ocean. Anyways, moving on, more on NASA. What's more, the space agency isn't planning just to visit. Yes, in the title it says that NASA, this agency, launches plan to return to moon and stay. So here, not only is NASA going back to the moon once again, they're also planning to go there and stay. So this agency isn't just planning to visit, they're going to visit and then stay there, maybe for good. Now, before we move on, let's talk about the word agency. An agency is not unlike an organization. Okay, an agency here is an organization that serves a single purpose or that tries to achieve a very specific goal or aim or something like that. Here in Taiwan, there are many travel agencies. If you were to call a travel agency, that company, that organization would help you set up a trip. They would help you to travel. That's what this agency does. But here we're talking about a governmental agency, NASA. Yes, often agencies like NASA, often agencies are a part of a government.
That's right. And of course, if you're running the agency, if you're like a manager, we could say that you are an administrator. So a NASA administrator by the name of Jim Bridenstine said that this time when we go to the moon, we're going to stay. And plans include a space station named the Gateway, which will orbit the moon and provide a place for astronauts to stop on their way to the surface. So this will be a space station in orbit around the moon. Orbit here can be both a noun and a verb. In this sentence, it's being used as a verb. That just means something goes around something else in space. The moon orbits the Earth orbits the sun. You get the idea. So this space station will float around the moon. It will orbit the moon, and astronauts can go to the space station when they're going to and from the moon, the surface.
There you go. To orbit, to fly, or to move around in a circle. But more specifically, to orbit something is to move in an orbit around something in space, like a star or a planet or a moon. etc. Yes, the word orbit, like Roger said before, can be used both as a verb and as a noun. When the thing is moving, okay, we're saying that that thing is orbiting. Now, the path that it follows while it is orbiting is called its orbit. Okay, by the way, not only do stars and planets and moons and stuff like that orbit, there are artificial or man-made things that orbit as well, like a satellite can orbit the Earth or something like that. Anyways, you can say all of the planets in our solar system orbit around the sun. All right, with that, folks, it is time for us to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
NASA will rely on vehicles from private companies, such as Elon Musk's SpaceX, whose rockets have delivered supplies to the International Space Station. The agency called on companies to submit ideas for lunar landers and other craft by March 25th. NASA's plan to return to the moon and go on to Mars got a boost last December from a space directive signed by President Trump. While many scientists are wary of the directive, NASA was quick to announce its sped-up moon program.
第二部分，我们看到一个动词 submit， 有提交的意思。例如 Ben submitted an application for the job opening. Ben 对该工作职缺提出了申请。而 submit 除了上面的意思外，还可以指屈服、被迫接受。我们可以说 Joy eventually had to submit to financial pressures and close her milkshake store. Joy 终究得屈服于财务压力，把他的奶昔店关闭了。再来，我们看到一个单字 directive， 这个字是名词，指正式的指令、命令。举例来说 The manager issued a directive about the new distribution of the staffs. 经理发布了一个关于新的人事分配的指令。接着，我们看到形容词 wary， 用来指谨慎提防的、机警的，像是I keep my headphones off and stay wary when walking home by myself late at night. 当我独自一人在深夜回家时，我将耳机拿下，并且保持机警。另外，我们常用 be wary of 加名词来表示对点点点小心提防、存有疑虑的。所以可以说 Judy grew up in a small town, wary of strangers and outsiders.Judy 生长在一个小镇，对陌生人和外来者很有戒心。
Okay, so how are they going to do it? How are NASA planning to go back to the moon? Well, NASA will rely on vehicles from private companies, such as Elon Musk's SpaceX, whose rockets have delivered supplies to the International Space Station. So this is a private company owned by Elon Musk, and that company is called SpaceX, but there are other private companies that can do this as well. It's probably too expensive for the government to pay for this, so they're going to find private contractors to do the work for them. Maybe it will be cheaper that way instead of doing it themselves. So, yes, SpaceX has delivered stuff to the International Space Station, so they've got some experience, so maybe they can head on over to the moon too.
Sounds good. Anyways, let's move on. NASA is working together with companies from the private sector there in the United States. Private companies like Elon Musk's SpaceX. And yeah, the agency, NASA I should say, the agency called on companies to submit ideas for lunar landers and other craft by March 25th. So NASA isn't going to make all of this stuff itself. It's going to work in unison with these private companies. These private companies are going to do a lot of the heavy lifting and the building, and then NASA is just going to allow them to launch this stuff. So this is a pretty cool combination of both the public and the private sectors. How cool. Anyways, it says here the agency called on companies to submit ideas for stuff, for lunar landers and other craft by March 25th. And yeah, here a craft is a spaceship. But yes, very often when we use this word craft, we're talking about boats or ships or maybe even airplanes. Yeah, here the word craft is being used as a noun. And no, we're not talking about handicrafts, those small artistic things that you do or that you make with your hands.
Right, so here we're talking about ships, either sailing ships, sailing craft, or spacecraft, spaceships, etc., including those lunar landers. Remember, the Apollo 1 was kind of funky looking. It was kind of strange. So, of course, times have changed. They need some new ideas. So different companies need to submit or turn in their ideas so they can make a decision. And NASA's plan to return to the moon and go on to Mars got a boost last December from a space directive signed by President Trump. So if you get a boost, that means something helps you improve. It gives you more energy. It gives you more inspiration. So they have this idea, and then Trump came out and said, or he signed this directive which said, hey, we're going back to the moon. So these companies said, okay, now we've got to do this because the president wants us to do this. Maybe the government is going to give us money. Let's get excited. Let's go back to the moon, fellas.
Yeah, President Trump apparently got excited about this, and he decided to give NASA a boost. Yeah, if you give something a boost, you give that thing help or assistance. So it says here that this particular plan got a boost, i.e., it got this help, it got this assistance. That's what the phrase here is all about. Now, also, this word boost is being used as a noun, okay? Sometimes you can boost something. You can use that word as a verb, but here it's being used as a noun. That's all there is to it. Let's go ahead and move on. The next sentence says, while many scientists are wary of the directive, NASA was quick to announce its sped-up moon program. So some scientists, they're wary. They think that this might not be a good idea. But hey, NASA was gung-ho about this.
Right, to be wary of something, you're going to be careful about this. They're not sure if that's the right idea, but still, they're going to go ahead with this, especially since we have a new space race going on. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. Let's now move on to the final part and listen.
The United States is not alone in the latest space race. In recent years, China has landed spacecraft on the moon, joining the US and Russia. Others who have thrown their hats into the ring include India and Israel.
最后第三部分，我们看到一个片语 throw one's hat into the ring， 其中的 into 也可以用 in 替换。这个片语有宣布参加角逐、宣布参赛的意思。我们可以说 I'm not sure if I'll win the singing contest.But I'm going to throw my hat in the ring anyway. 我不确定我能否赢得歌唱比赛，但不管如何，我都打算参赛。而这个片语还可以将 throw 替换为 toss， 所以可以说 Sandy tossed her hat into the ring to be elected head of the workers' union. Sandy 加入竞选工会主席的行列。
Ooh, a new space race is on its way. How exciting. I wonder if the Russians are going to get involved again. It will be the USSR and the USA, and they're going to be facing off once again, right? Wrong. First of all, the USSR no longer exists, okay? It's just Russia. And you know what? Russia isn't the same as it used to be. It's not as powerful as it used to be. So, no, it's not going to be the U.S. versus Russia anymore. In fact, it's shaping up to be more like the USA versus China. Yes, the United States is not alone in the latest space race. In recent years, China has landed spacecraft on the moon, joining the U.S. and Russia.
Indeed. So China, of course, is starting to go to the moon as well. Of course, China belongs there. Chang'e, after all, is on the moon. And so is the moon rabbit. So they're going up there to stake their claim. So China, of course, has joined the space race. They've landed spacecraft there. And joining the U.S. and Russia is China, but others who have thrown their hats into the ring include India and Israel. Hey, the more the merrier, the more people who are competing for the prize of the moon, the better. Maybe we can bring back some more moon rocks or something like that. So here we've got the phrase to throw your hat into the ring. I believe this is a reference to boxing matches in the past where you had a really strong fighter in the ring and someone said, does anybody dare to challenge the champion? If you come in here and you fight the champion and you can beat him, then you can win some money. So if you were willing to fight the champion, then you threw your hat into the ring to indicate that you wanted to participate. So here, hey, lots of different countries are joining this competition. They are throwing their hats into the ring, such as India and Israel, and maybe some others as well.
How cool. Now, maybe this phrase, to throw your hat in the ring, back in the day, maybe that was used in boxing. Nowadays, though, it's usually used in politics, okay? But yes, you can use it in other ways as well. But yes, to throw your hat in the ring is to publicly announce your intentions to join some race, like a space race, or some competition, or some event, or you're saying that you're going to run for political office. All right, folks, with that, today's lesson is now in the books, and it's time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到美国国家航空暨太空总署 NASA 他们宣布说计划要让太空人再次登陆月球表面，这是很令人兴奋的消息。那我们要顺便学一下太空人astronaut 这个单字的字根。好 astro A-S-T-R-O 还有 A-S-T-E-R 这两个字根啊是源自于希腊文。在古希腊文里面呢 A-S-T-R-O-N 这个字表示复数的星星 the stars， 那么 A-S-T-E-R 这表示单数的星星 a star， 所以同学们就会发现像这两个字根啊就会跟星星有关。那么在 astronaut 这个单字当中，我们说 ASTRO 表示星星，那后面的 NAUT 这部分表示水手。同学们就可以试着联想，太空人就像是坐着太空船的水手嘛，他们在宇宙中航行冒险，所以 astronaut 就是太空人。那我们顺便来拆解一下 astronomy 和 astrology 这两个字。好 astronomy 它是拼作 A-S-T-R-O-N-O-M-Y。 好，那么其中的字根这个 astro 这部分就表示星星，它的字尾 N-O-M-Y 表示学科。好，跟星星有关的学科那就是天文学咯。至于astrology 它是拼作 A-S-T-R-O-L-O-G-Y， 那么其中的字根 astro 表示星星嘛，那字尾 L-O-G-Y 表示学说，跟星星有关的学说那就表示占星学占星术。好，我们接着读到课文第二部分，有一个句子是The agency called on companies to submit ideas for lunar landers and other craft by March 25th。 好，太空总署呢呼吁各公司在3月25号之前要提交月球登陆器和其他飞行器的想法。那在这边呢，它用到一个片语 call on， 就表示呼吁或是请求。Call on somebody to do something 就是说呼吁某人做某事，请求某人做某事。那这边还有一个单字叫 submit， submit 它表示提交或是呈递。我们来学习它的字首字根。字首 sub 表示下方，那么字根 mit 表示送出或是投射。同学们可以试着想，东西由下属下位者呈送上去，就可以想到这个 submit 它有提交呈递的意思，这个字也可以表达服从。那我们顺便补充几个有相同字根的单字。好，第一个 emit E-M-I-T 这个字的字首 E 表示向外，由内向外，那么 mit 这个部分表示送出投射，合在一起 emit 就表示发出发射散发。好，再来看第二个单字 remit R-E-M-I-T 它的字首 R-E 表示 back 也就是回，那么 mit 表示 send 也就是送出，合在一起就是 send back， 送回来。同学们可以试着联想，一个人原本该付的代价、该付的刑责被退回来了，那就表示他的处罚或是债务被免除了。所以 remit 这个字它可以表达赦免、免除。好，另外也可以联想说，你本来投射出去的力量再反弹回来，这时候它的力道就减轻了嘛，所以 remit 它也有缓和、减轻的语义。那这个字还有一个常见的意思是汇款，所以你可能会看到它的名词 remittance， R-E-M-I-T-T-A-N-C-E， 这个字就可以表示汇款、汇济。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天单字吧。
Launch. Liana is saving up money so she can launch her own business. Astronaut. NASA's first spacewalk featuring only female astronauts was cancelled because they lacked enough medium-sized spacesuits. Lunar. Missions to the moon have brought back lunar rocks for analysis. Agency. The Food and Drug Administration is a government agency in charge of protecting public health. Orbit. The International Space Station has been orbiting Earth since 1998. Submit. We must submit next year's budget by the end of the month. Craft. The craft will touch back down on Earth at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Wary. Parents should teach children to be wary of strangers, especially those they meet online.
Discussion starter starts now.
Here's our discussion starter for today. Why do you think countries are once again racing to land on the moon?
Countries are once again racing to land on the moon because they want to show how technologically developed they are. Only the best countries with the best technologies can get to the moon, and the only way that you can prove that you're technologically advanced is by getting to the moon. So yes, all of these countries, they basically just want to show off their technological prowess.
Well, I think their main goal is to go there and look for helium-3, so they're ready to get that material and maybe they can use it in nuclear fusion or something like that. At least I read that somewhere.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.